So first off, we get to talk about the CSGO. So this week, the Mount Dew League will come back. They've already put the schedules up for the Australians. They haven't put up the schedules yet for the European games. So the Australian schedule's already up and running. And I think they start Tuesday or Monday. So, we'll start that, g'day Daniel and g'day Reckless. But we'll start that on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not terribly sure. So anyways, first things first, as the Katowice qualifiers are ongoing at the moment, the European closed qualifier hasn't finished. It's going to be finishing tonight. And the NA qualifier is already finished. Eventually, they get into the AU qualifier as well, and I think the Asian qualifier is already finished as well, and the AU qualifier is coming this week. And I might not be able to cast it given it's on a weekday, unless they go into the evening, of course. So let's go over the first things first. So let's just talk about ESL. Okay, so if you guys are completely unaware of ESL, we're not talking about the politics yet, guys. Not about the politics yet. If you're not completely aware of what happened with ESL, is that ESL, some of the Katowice games, the early Katowice games between the European teams and the American teams, were not casted or streamed. Like, we're not even casted live or streamed live. So there's no stream you could go to and watch the games for at least 3 of the games, which is really, really messed up from ESL. And they really dropped the ball in this regards. And a lot of talent, such as Sponge and a few others, were highly critical of them. And Sponge was like, I'm going to cast, I'll cast it. Give me this sponsor reel and I'll do it. And a lot of people, putting their hands up as well. I think it was Upmind, a few others as well. And a lot of people aired their grievances with ESL. So basically, ESL apologized for what the hell happened. This is Carmack, I believe. Yep, it is Carmack. And he apologized for what basically happened, which was basically ESL dropped the ball big time. And they were going to do something about their policies. There is one of the guys who was a part of the ESL partners, which I think is Mitch from Capping TV. And he, publicly said that he's been getting messed around by ESL quite a bit, and hopefully ESL's change of policy will be a change of attitude towards it as well. And, I can understand that frustration so hard. I tried to apply for an ESL game, so I'm going to tell you guys now. I'm going to tell a tidbit, okay? So I knew that Mitch had the rights to apply for ESL, so I was trying to get him to be like, hey, Mitch, man, can you get me a game for the EU side? And at the end of the day, he was unable to. He was trying to for me, man, to get, one game, one of the best of ones on the open qualifiers. And he was unable to. He just said, yeah, they said they've got talent there. And then one of the games wasn't casted by an English caster, which was like, what's going on? And I don't know, it's good that they've released a statement because it's become a big issue where you couldn't, basically, if it was, the game that was shown was Gen G versus a Brazilian team. I think it was Ints. And the game between MRBR, Cloud9, Complexity, and all those top teams were not shown on stream. You had to, in the end, some people even, basically guessed IPs and, streamed the game, which was some Chinese streamer and some Russian streamer who went around the rules, basically. They're not ESL, approved and streamed the game, and they got, 2K, 3K viewers. Gorlez, the Brazilian streamer, got about 30K viewers just watching HLTV scoreboards. And I feel like ESL really dropped the ball here, but they're making good on it as well. Basically, all the games after that had English casters on it, regardless. They brought out Conky and a few other Australian talent as well to start casting the games. Unfortunately, I didn't get picked up for any of the games. I did apply. I sent an email, as I said, when they announced this, I did send an email to the ESL broadcasting team to say, I'm ready to go. I can cast EU, can cast AU, you name it, I'll be there. And of course, unfortunately, they go, we have enough English talent for the rest of the ESL Katowice broadcast. So pretty much, if you don't know with ESL Pro League and all the ESL products, is that they have a specific bunch of people who can cast in English, mainly because they can trust them to work the ESL product right, and ESL have a bunch of contracts with various sponsors. For example, Mountain Dew, that Game of Fuel is one of the sponsors, Intel as well. So, you got to make sure that these people know how to not accidentally make names or promote other products that aren't the sponsors, basically, and know how to manage contracts that are worth actual money. So that's pretty much what happened with Katowice, and that's what their stance is. Hopefully, what they've also updated as well is that the Rio Tinto major, the qualifiers and their how to apply to cast a qualifier, they'll give the process on January 30th, and of course I will apply and see how many qualifiers I get for the Rio Tinto, did I? Rio de Janeiro major that's happening in May. And I'll try to get as many of those qualifiers as I can to cast, and I'll just basically tell them I can cast all day. So next things up, which is basically the movements in the CSGO scene. So CSGO scene, well, actually, no, we're talking about the future games. Sorry, not CSGO scene. So basically the games for Katowice, the video GeForce Cup is on tomorrow. The only Australian team in there is X Genuine, but I don't have really much information on who's going to win those and stuff like that. I noticed about all the cheap flights in the ad. Yeah, I know, because I've been organising flights to Leipzig and all that stuff. So that's why all the ads there, like, all like, there's cheap ads here, cheap ad this, cheap ad that. So the last 3 games the Katowice qualifiers is Ants v AGO, the best of 3, Illuminar vs Mad Lions in the best of 3, and also the results as well. That was G2 beat Mad Lions to knock them into the lower bracket, and I believe it was FaZe beat Ents 2-1 to knock them in the lower bracket. I reckon Ents got a big test here. They have to beat AGO here. If they're unable to beat AGO, then Ents' fall is going to keep going down, because Ents, I don't think Ents are the best finish team anymore, to be honest. I think half have, beaten them now after Ents dropped Alex V. So Illuminati Mad Lions, I reckon Mad Lions win this 2-0. Mad Lions are such a strong team at the moment. They lost to G2 2-1. G2 being the superior team, of course, and G2 getting the Katowice invite. And also FaZe beating Ents 2-1, getting the Katowice invite as well. Ents v AGO, I reckon AGO upset and win 2-1. And Ents' downfall will continue, pretty much. And, don't like it here. And then I reckon Mad Lions will take down AGO in the grand final and get that 3rd Katowice invite. If you guys are unaware, NA only had 1 Katowice invite, and EU had 3. The team that took the NA invite was Cloud9, who actually done it in really good fashion as well. They took down Complexity and they took down MIBR, I believe, in the end. And people were saying about this Cloud9 lineup, which we'll talk about later. So first we're going to talk about Native Safix and HS joining Nordavind. So Holzerk and Harry is left to apparently join the Heretics team, or the ex-Heretics team with David P and David Dubik, and Holzerk, Holzerk has joined Dignitas and is forming a lineup with with Forrest and some of the NIP guys. And so basically, Nordavind, who've lost basically 2 of their players, which is Harry and Holzerk, which got them to advance so convincingly as well. Now they get Native Safix and HS to replace him. Native Safix is definitely a quality AWPer. HS, I haven't seen much of him. He was kicked out of Game of Legion before I could really cast him. So I think there's 2 good pickups here for Nordavind. They still got Rubinho, and they still got Rubinho. I'm trying to think of the Norwegian player, Kroman, and all the other stars that really got them through advance. And I think Nordavind will still keep on their track of getting finals in MDL, in my opinion. So next up we got is Cloud9 summoning ATK. So if you guys don't know, Cloud9 had been, Cloud9 lost its roster to Gen G with Automatic Dapper and, I forget the other person, and Som. No, Som's not from Cloud9 though. But the remaining members of Cloud9's roster got signed to Gen G, and Cloud9 signed ATK instead. So ATK has Daps, they lost Daps, it says in the article, they lost Daps, Kusta, and Automatic. So, they didn't want to build around Mixwell and Tens, and to be honest though, they, didn't really form a core. So in the end, they recruited ATK, which is JT, MOTM, Floppy, OCE, or OC, and Sonic. So basically it's half of Bravado and half Singularity, or X-Singularity. And they started Venom Cloud9. They recently won an IEM Katowice qualifier, despite the fact that people didn't expect Cloud9 to win this. They don't rate ATK as a team, even though the ATK somehow kept an ESL Pro League spot. And I'm thinking of saying, guys, I don't think this Cloud9, you don't want to sleep on them too much. Like, people are, referring to the old Cloud9 where they were just absolutely pathetic and losing to Mountain Dew League teams. I think this Cloud9's a bit different. They're the mid-tier team in the ESL Pro League. And I think this Cloud9 team could get a bit far in the Katowice as well. So next one up is Oscar Sounds for Sprout. So Sprout's been making some moves after losing Keto and Sirison to Sprout. So they started up Oscar. Oscar was definitely one of the free agents that was listed on, I think it's Decay's list. There was a whole bunch of free agents that had not been signed to teams that were quality players. And Oscar probably been the top of the crop there. And he was signed to Sprout. I reckon this would be a big pickup for Sprout, to be honest, to get Oscar. Very, very good player. Very, very good rifler. He's just left Hellraisers as well. Hellraisers wasn't going that great. And he was easily the best player in the team. So now, basically, they also recruited Daisha as well from Arky, and that will be announced later. So next up we've got, so as you see here, there's Sprout. So Sprout can, when the ESL relegation comes around, Sprout can compete in it. Next up we got the Swedish swap here. So basically, Forrest left NIP and moved to Dignitas, And now NIP and Gamer Legion, they have done an all three-way switcheroo. It's called the Swedish Shuffle, as they call it. So what's happened is that Dignitas team is being formed in EU with Hulzerk and 4 NIP players, which is going to be Forest, Exist, Freiburg, and Get Right, apparently, according to this in Get Right as well. So Get Right's getting back in the crowd, so Dignitas is going to form like NIP, but with Hulzerk instead. And I'm not sure how I'm going to take this. I wonder if Dignitas will try to apply for an MDL invite, or would they go for advance against the ESL, ECA, like ESL Pro League. So it'll be quite interesting because, Forrest, I'd say the only person in there that might be a bit Monka-esque could be Exist with his game leading and map picking skills. Get Right, Freiburg, Forrest, Hulzerk, all quality players. And, Exist just got to just work on map picks and stuff like that. Because Exist's big thing of why he got kicked from Fnatic and NRP was 100% to do with his map picking and vetoes. Where, like, NIP and Fnatic were vetoing maps or picking maps they were no good at. And they'll get absolutely trounced, and then they'll lose series because of it. So yeah, as I said, Get Right, that's the new Dignitas team. So what's happened is that washed up quality players. I'm not going to say, they're still quality players. Get Right does still have a few years in them. Same with Freiburg as well. Freiburg was really good when he was in Heroic. And, Exist would be the only person I'd be really, really worried about. Personally. So this is triggering a lot of swaps, okay? So basically, Nork has been picked up by NIP as the primary AWPer since Forrest has left. So that'll probably, allow Lecro to go off to AWP because I don't think NIP had a primary AWPer. So they took Nork off Gamer Legion. Great pickup for NIP. Nork, was definitely one of the stars in Gamer Legion. And this will really hurt Gamer Legion's challenge to stay in the MDL. As they've signed up Draken. And I'm going to say Draken's definitely a downgrade over Nork because Nork works in those pressure situations and Draken simply doesn't. If Draken can get over those mental demons, as I said so many times before, where Draken misses easy shots under pressure, Game of Legion will probably stay up there, And so basically nothing else has changed in the Game of Legion lineup, and Nip had got Nork instead. That's a great pickup, I reckon. Nip building around the new young core. Rez as well being the main star of Nip as well. I reckon with Rez and with Nork, Rez can have a lot of the stuff just go off his shoulders as well, and able to shoulder load onto Plopsky and Nork, because they're definitely top tier players. Lekro is still IGL. I'm actually not surprised that NIP didn't change around to IGL. Probably not worth it. Like, they could have got Hampus from Game of Legion as well. But I don't think it would have been a good idea to switch to IGL at this stage because Lekro is still, doing decent job at fragging despite being IGL. And it's not really been an IGL issue for NIP at all. It's really been the firepower issue. It's mainly been the back of Rez and Plopsky, essentially, to drive the team. So I'm quite interested in Dignitas lineup as well. I'm not sure what invites they've got yet, like if they're going to invite to MDL or anything like that. I reckon Get Right, Freiburg, Exist, Forest, and Hulzerk might be MDL quality, could be ESL Pro League quality, but we have to wait and see. And Game of Legion, I think this has hurt their chances of staying in MDL quite a bit, with having Draken on the team as well. If Draken can really prove himself as a top tier AWPer, I think that will change, so they could potentially get, be like bottom playoff team or just stay in MDL. Next up, we got Mihu. This is basically the nail in the coffin for X-Virtus Pro. So the Polish squad definitely big nail in the coffin. Mihu's like the Zyru for X-Virtus Pro, okay? Like, Mihu's being the main player other than Snatchy. And I feel, with Mihu leaving, it might cause a catalyst that X-Virtus Pro might die in MDL. We don't know. But hopefully they can gather another player quite quickly who can, try and replace Mihu's role. But it's going to be really hard to get a very quality player, given that, Morals is a free agent, but Morals has already been signed up with another Polish team with, like, Kakao, who are in MDL, so that's not going to happen. There's a lot of, good Polish players, but I don't think they're going to get the cream of the crop here to replace Mihu. So basically, as you see how it says PHR, Veggie, Snatchy, Snacks, and Cuban as coach, and Mihu's leaving X-Virtus Pro. It was initially thought they were going to stick together and try to go into MDL, trying to exact some revenge against the new Virtus Pro side, which is X of Vanguard. So, that's what they're trying to do here. Nothing much, Murph, nothing much. We're going through the changes. There's been a lot of changes in the CSGO scene lately. So recently, Mihu, the star player of XVP, has left. And I think he's going to go to any team, practically. Like, Mihu can go to any team. He'll fit right in, be a primary fragger, and, absolute beast mode. For XVP, though, this, I reckon, relegation. They'll either get directly relegated or put to relegation, because losing Mihu's a big part of their team. And If they lose Snatchy as well, team's gone. I'd say team's gone unless they get some serious firepower. They're not going to get at. They're going to be an MDL relegation and they're going to be Gonski. So next up, we're going to do. I've already got that. Odd. So what happened as well? I believe Peter left as NIP coach, and Fret's taken the head coach position now as well for NIP. Peter apparently the Get Right saga, the way Get Right was handled was actually on him, according to his Twitter. And so Fret, we'll be coaching NIP once again with Nork in the lineup as well. And and Forrest leaving the team will be reuniting with his old teammates in Dignitas. So yeah, and Peter wasn't very happy on Twitter. He said that it's kind of his fault that the Ninjas didn't perform well and stuff like that. He felt it was more on him than anyone else. So next up we got Heretics. Okay, this is good. This is a bit of a drama thread as well. So Heretics replaced David P and Devo Duvik, which I disagree heavily on David P being removed, for Jane, which I do agree with Devo Duvik being removed. He didn't play very well at all during the MDL season. But I replaced him with Jane, who's definitely a decent player, and an XMS which questioned me so much. I have no idea what possessed Heretics to pick up XMS over David P. David P's the IGL as well, by the way, and Kiyoshima's now IGL of Heretics with David P gone. I have no idea what has possessed Heretics to pick up XMS. I have no idea. XMS, he hasn't played well since he was in the pro scene last. He's been in LDLC, and I expected big things of him when I casted their games, and it was just Sixer and Major. It wasn't XMS at all. XMS just was a passenger, it seemed. And I don't know, I disagree with this article heavily, because they say results didn't improve much in that time. When they picked up Kiyoshima and Lucky, they won 7-8 games and almost made the finals. So I think, when you're talking about XMS as a good choice, yeah, I would say look at the stats, Reckless, and tell me that XMS is a good choice. He's not a good choice for this lineup. For David P. For the David P versus XMS, I think XMS is really, is actually older than David. No, he's younger. But XMS hasn't played very well. As you see, their rating 0.8, David P 1.04, and David P's IGL and XMS is not. So you're fraying less to an IGL, that's a bit of a problem. And, it's not very good, I don't think, that switch there. I do agree with Jane for Devo Duvik. There's an upgrade, but I don't agree for David P and XMS. So basically, the new lineup's going to be Kiyoshima, Maka, Lucky, XMS, and Jane. They're building around Maka a lot. Maka's a high tier AWPer. I just think the David P switch is the wrong switch to do. So Heretics want to tank, let them tank, but if they tank, they get out of the MDL. Heretics should be good enough to stay in MDL, but wait, there's a little twist in this tale, okay? There's a little twist in this tale. So if you guys don't know, so what happened afterwards is that after Devo Duvik and David P got given their marching orders, David P decided to talk to a ESL admin about whether or not if he could keep the MDL spot, who the MDL spot actually was. Was it the Orgs or was it David P's and Devo Duvik's? So basically, Devo Duvik and David P talked to an ESL admin, knowing that, basically the MDL game days were dead, potentially, because, trying to be a French player, trying to get recruited for a different scene is pretty difficult. I think Kiyoshima is the only one and Rain, actually, who've been able to sign on international teams. And the French scene is very, very, I'm not going to say egocentric, but passion-centric. And, basically the French teams, they tend to, do a switcheroo around, a bunch of players like G2, Envy back in the old days. Now, Heretics. And I'm trying to think of the other French team. Oh, it's G2. What's the other French team these days? Oh, Vitality, that's right. And they seem to switch players around and kick players out. And, it's sometimes a circus and an interesting, thing to watch. So what happened was that David P and David Duvik, they talked to an ESL admin, and an ESL admin said, yes, the spot was David Duvik's and David P's, and that their vote would outnumber Macca's vote, and they could cut the entire team. So that's exactly what they did, basically. So if you guys don't know here, this is basically Devo Duvik cutting everyone from the team. So everyone from the Heretics lineup all cut, and David P and Devo Duvik got that spot, and that's where Harry is gone, and they've also recruited Tabs as well, and a few other players at the moment. So nothing has happened yet. No announcement from ESA if this is all legit. And Heretics, who got Jane and an XMS don't have an MDL spot anymore. We haven't heard the announcement from it yet, because this is going to be a big issue, because Heretics won't have MDL status, and that could be, chaos for their contracts they've just signed the 2 players on, because it's David P and Devo Duvik spot. Personally, I reckon they'll reach a deal. Devo Duvik and David P will reach a deal to sell that spot potentially. But I'm not sure. I think with their attention at the moment where they're recruiting players, I think they're going to try and keep that spot. And that's a current, it's a interesting plot twist to how this cutting seemed to end up as well, which is pretty interesting. So next up as well, we got Arky bringing in Haters on loan, and Neo. So Neo coming in from FaZe, staying on as a player for Arky, and Haters coming in as a loan. This is mainly for ESL Pro League, so to have enough players at ESL Pro League to play the relegation and try to stay in. Main reason why they're trying to do this is that the EU Pro League spot is very easy this time around for relegation, as 3 teams go through and 1 team goes out, rather than the good old 3 teams go out and 3 teams go in. So you use light mode? Yeah, I do use light mode, so it's easier to read, I guess. But, with Reddit, I don't really mind which mode I use, but I can use dark mode. So basically, Minisi and Daichi both left. So basically, essentially, Haters coming on loan from Aves, and Neo basically staying on the roster to make sure that, they can see out ESL Pro League, whether they stay in or not. I'm going to say, given that Sprout's recruited quite good teams, and they're going to be taking on teams like Halfter and Spirit, I think Arky might be the team that goes under and back to the MDL. Next up, we're going to talk about Sprout Sons Daicho, of course. So Daicho, who left Arky, immediately found a new home at Sprout. So Sprout have got their 5 men ready to go in ESL Pro League. So this comes to the Australian scene as well. So basically what happened is that Dick Stacey left Renegades. We'll talk about more like that later on why he left Renegades. Dick Stacey parted ways. He wasn't kicked or booted. He parted ways with them. So this started the good old shuffle here. So what happens is that Hats from Order left Order to go to Renegades. And Ricky is standing in for Order. So Ricky's come back to Australia. He used to be in Complexity in the ESL Pro League. And then he was kicked out by, as you guys know, Jason Lake with the good old Twitter of, I love our players and all, but these results can't stand, and we're not going to renew their contracts or stuff like that. And Ricky was one of these people, and Ricky wrote a tweet longer about it, saying that he just felt the team chemistry was off, and that sometimes he would buy AWPs when his team told him not to. And that's not a good thing to have in a teammate when your teammate's not addressing the system. And a lot of IGLs have talked about this, where the IGL system won't work if you're not going with it, basically. I think Daps and Steel talked about it as well in regards to Tens being benched for Cloud9. And that's kind of a red flag for me, given that he's returned to Order. If Ricky, maybe it could be a personality clash with Ricky with the other teammates. But you can't have that sort of attitude where you buy things when your team's like, no, don't do it, do this, do Y. And you're buying an AWP or whatever, doing whatever you want. And maybe he was right, there was a clash in the Complexity lineup. But a lot of rumors have been saying it came from him. And I'm not sure if this is a good pickup for Order or not. If Ricky solved his issues and he's like, okay, I'll be a team player, more of a team player for Order and stuff like that, and won't go full ego and, think he's good with an AWP and stuff like that, he would go well. There's also a few reasons that he hasn't been a very, very good AWPer, but going to the AUMDL is a bit down in the player ability. I'm saying it's neutral that the player ability in AU is a lot less than America and EU, especially ESL Pro League as well. So he should be able to, play at that level at least. I do remember, I think it was one of the tournaments where you saw a film clip of Warden literally pointing out a player that Ricky didn't see. And Ricky died, basically one of Ricky's teammates died to him, and Ricky could have stopped it. And I just hope Ricky could put those demons behind him and just really, from the rumors I heard, just be a good team player, basically. And if he's able to do that, he'll shine in Order. If he doesn't do that, Order going to cut him, basically. So what happens? Order lost Hats, gained Ricky. Ricky's a pretty good AWPer. And Hats leaving to Renegades. That's where he's going to at the moment. So Ricky did used to be on Renegades, the old Renegades, and now 100 Thieves, and they basically kicked them off because he wasn't good enough, as far as I know. So there goes Ricky in Order. So hopefully he can rebuild his career here. And I know I've been really, really harsh on Ricky, But that's the matter of facts. That's where the facts stand with him. It's not me being biased against him or having grudge against him. It's just what I've been hearing. It's been pretty negative, and I just hope he can turn this around, make it a positive, and really put a show in for order, put a statement game that he's still the good player. He becomes an even better player than he was. G'day, Rudy. So next up will be the other one, which will be Renegades Part Ways of Dick Stacey. If you guys didn't realize that Dick Stacey was basically they parted teams neutrally. He played a crucial role in the center. I'm not terribly sure about that. He is the spirit, like this. I was gonna say spirit animal, but he's like the kind of morale in the team. Like he's really that crux player that really just brings the morale, brings the hype to his teammates. Maybe that is a crucial role. I reckon Dexter and Ince played more crucial roles. Ince with the clutches and Dexter just being absolutely insane with the entrance and stuff like that. I wouldn't put Dick Stacey up there with the crucial players and the impact players, but he's probably a support player. Good enough to be so. And I kind of feel like I'll also talk about this later when we link his clip. I'll talk about that as well. That I kind of felt that something was up with him because he started plateauing. Like instead of improving, he started plateauing and then going downwards in his playing ability. And I think it was like people were saying it was lack of practice and stuff like that. And we'll get into the story later. So basically what happened was that Renegades are going to pick up hats, which will be in the next article. And, Dick Stacey did a good job for Greyhound. They kept that core together. And then, must have been a big help from him as well. He's been very active in the community as well, calling out people who are being shit cunts very, very, openly and saying, hey guys, it's not the way to do it. So, I don't even question the fact that Dick Stacey's a, very, very, upstanding and moral person despite his, joking humor about putting dick tattoos onto the major stuff. So anyways, we're going to go to the Twitter post. So we're going to talk about why he left. So here we go. This is where he explains it basically. Who says?
As you're all well aware, yes, the painting in the background is slightly off center. I thought it adds some colour to the frame. After my long tenure under the Renegades banner of 1 month, I've parted ways with the CSGO roster. Main reason for this is I've had an eye condition for about a year now, and it prevents me from putting too much intense screen time in, and it wasn't fair on my teammates, wasn't fair on my brothers, not being able to put these productive elite CSGO hours in. So yeah, you have to take care of yourself in that aspect. To all the dribblers out there though, that think I only spoke in dick jokes and kept up this persona, you can suck my hairy balls, man. It's not a persona, it's just myself. I joined Greyhounds before I even had 500 followers, before I even had 3 years of playtime. Although I do agree, people out there rode me for clicks, and there's a lot of immature connotations to it. But just relax, eh? The world's not ending, no, just yet. But yeah, on to the more important stuff. My fans,
Yeah, did Rudy.
I appreciate every single one of you and who've supported me on my skyrocket of a journey these past 2 years. All the places I've travelled to, esports is a crazy place. All the interactions, I wouldn't take it back for anything. And I thank you for your continuous support. And I hope you continue on to what I do next. And
It's Dick Stacey, by the way. So it's the reason why he left Renegades.
For the meantime, I have no intention of being a player while I treat my eyes and relax. I'll be going down other avenues, and I'll figure out what's best for me and what I will enjoy the most within the future, and I'll chase it. Before I end this video, though, I want to say special thanks to Mr. Greyhound. Everything he's done, everything he's provided for myself and for the team. He's an absolute legend. And I hope you guys continue to support the team and just support their journey. So yeah.
So basically pretty much is that Dick Stacey had an eye condition and that he was really unable to play with the ground. He wasn't able to put in the hours that was absolutely needed, basically. So, like, he had an eye condition. People suspecting an eye issue, like mitochondria or something. It's not mitochondria, so I've got the ring finger. It's like ketis, something like that, where, like, you can't focus on games for more than 2 to 3 hours. It exhausts you. And, like, that's why I'm talking about where I felt like he had something wrong with him, was that he played well at the start, and then, like, over time, he just, like, plateaued and went down a lot. And I felt like there was more something to it, considering that He's only 23 years of age, I believe. I think he is 23 years of age. And generally when you decline as a CSGO pro, it's usually around about 26, 27. And like he was nowhere near there. And you can tell he hadn't been putting the practice in and stuff like that as well. Not because he didn't want to. Like he's definitely an upstanding person who put in the practice 200%. Is that his health couldn't do so. And there's been whispers around he might return as talent as a caster or an analyst. But I'm not terribly too sure, given if he wants to do all the research for analysis and stuff like that, he's got to watch demos. And I think being an analyst as well, like you don't play CSGO 20, like you don't play CSGO, but you watch all of CSGO as an analyst and stuff like that. You can't just, basically easy mode it out. So next up we're talking about LDLC. Basically LDLC are going to form a new roster, kicking out Happy. They lost Amanek and Alex to respective French shuffles as well. They're going to actually had about Flatroo, Tabs, all these players here that I've all casted. So what they're trying to do now is they're picking up Lambert, Hadji, Logan, Gringo, and putting it together with Sixer to make another French team, basically. That's pretty much it. LDLC in Advanced, they didn't go very far in Advanced either, and they could lose a spot actually, but I think they're just keeping the Sixer around to keep the spot. Next up, we're talking about DreamHack Open Leipzig. The Open qualifiers are going to be tonight. I may cast one of the Open qualifiers for EU. So basically, the invites have been unveiled for the event, which has been Virtus Pro, which is a Vanguard. So it's going to be Jane and all that stuff. Jane, Kika, Buster, Sanji, and Adren. Renegades, this is their first big invite for the Renegades, with Seiko, Dexter, Ince, Malta, and not Dick States. He's going to be Hats. And then Big getting invited as well. So Big King invited. And also North got invited. But they were, they were the DreamHack Sevilla champions, so kind of expected to be invited. And also Sprout making their way in through the German ESL League to get into DreamHack Open Leipzig. So currently at the moment they're waiting for the 2 EU qualifiers and the NA qualifier before they go ahead. So next up we got the KJB resigns of North. That's probably a big win for North. Given that KJB could have gone anywhere considering how North was performing. North was performing quite poorly. And, there we go. And, that's pretty much it with the CSGO side of it, I believe. Yep, that's pretty much it with the CSGO side of it. Not much left at all. And, there's a lot of roster moves that have occurred before the MDL season starts. So if you guys don't know, MDL will start next week. The Leipzig qualifiers, open and closed, will start this weekend. I'll be casting the NA and EU qualifiers. I'll also be casting the MDL as well. So I'm trying to beat my record for MDL casting. I'm trying to get over, I think it's 3,500 minutes of casting. And I'm trying to get over that this year. So that's pretty much it for the CSGO side of it, guys. So if you guys enjoyed my CSGO analysis or anything like that, please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube. If you guys want to donate to Gamer8, type !Gamer8 in my Twitch channel, and you can donate through there, or you can donate to my PayPal as well in my Twitch channel. So, hope you guys have a great time listening to some CSGO action, some CSGO news from Jose, and I hope you guys have a great day. Always remember to like and subscribe.